Welcome to Minding Your Business, the ProMontreal Entrepreneurs Podcast, a program of Federation CJA. I'm Dan Laxer.
And I'm Catherine Korakakis, Head of Entrepreneurship at ProMontreal Entrepreneurs. Each episode, we introduce you to the founder or founders of startups that found their way through PME, plus words of business wisdom from our program's various mentors, which might even be me.
In this episode, the story of Friday night dinner, not the Jewish tradition of Shabbat, although we will talk about that, but the kosher food company. That's coming up. But before we get into that, Catherine, they say it's never too late, and many people start new things later in life, but hungry entrepreneurs like to get into the racket early, and PME has something called the Youth Entrepreneurship Program. What is that?
So it's a 12-week course that we teach children from secondary 1 to secondary 4. So we're roughly, I would say, 13 to 16, the ins and outs of starting a business. And we have people from Israel that come in and teach the course. And at the end of that course, the children have a business idea. They understand how to put a business together, and we're piloting it now. And hopefully we will have a new cohort ready to launch in the winter.
That's a really great idea.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. All right, let's get into it. Can there be a more heimish phrase than Friday night dinner? It conjures up nostalgia for those of us who grew up with, well, Friday night dinners, and resonates with those who maintain the tradition of Shabbat with family. So it made sense for Jessie Horowitz to name her company Friday Night Dinner. And to tell us more about what she does at Friday Night Dinner, we welcome Jessie Horowitz to Minding Your Own Business. Welcome, Jessie.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Hi, Jessie.
So happy to be here.
Good to have you. So what is Friday Night Dinner?
So Friday Night Dinner is grass-fed kosher meat. It's the product that we sell, but it is exactly what you said. It's about gathering around the table. It's about gathering around the table over good food. And it's about bringing back what I believe should be kosher, what kosher meat means.
Can you elaborate on that? What do you mean? What it means?
So kosher usually starts at the processing plant, and that's where the mashgiachs and the shech teams really put into action kosher law. But they've stopped paying attention to where the animals come from, how the animals are treated, what they're being fed. And that in and of itself should be what kosher means. There's a history in kosher law about no suffering.
That's exactly correct, yes.
And when you are coming from animals from abroad, animals from stress, animals from inflammation from being fed the wrong diet.
Or kept in cages all day long.
Kept in cages, livestock, like
it's
the
terrible.
feedlots, that is suffering.
Yeah.
And so no matter what attention to detail you take at the processing plant, if it's coming from that place, to me, it's no longer, I mean, I can't say it's not kosher, but it doesn't have the essence of what it should mean. So every Friday night, with my family, we have a dinner. And we were eating kosher meat on the table every week, and I stopped eating that meat because it was affecting my body negatively.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yes.
In what ways?
So I was diagnosed with colitis a few years ago.
Yeah.
And if anybody doesn't know colitis, it's a gastrointestinal disorder where the levels of toxicity that you can handle in your body is very, very, very minute before you go into like a problematic reaction. And so things like meat that isn't pure, I would have a problematic reaction and I'd be running to the bathroom.
Yeah.
I was able to detect, okay, so this is not clean or this is clean, and based on how my body would react to it. I don't have colitis anymore. I healed my diagnosis.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
By going back to whole foods, real foods, clean foods, making sure that in my food there was no antibiotics, no hormones, no pesticides, no chemicals, no toxins. And it's harder and harder to find. And I think what happened for me was when I stopped eating meat, and I have a background in agriculture, so I kind of knew what I was looking for in terms of what was quality when you start to look for things that are clean and healthy and pure. And it was like, how come this doesn't exist? Like, why should I just be avoiding it? Can't I put those two things together so that I can, at my own Shabbat table, serve meat that I trust, that I would want my family to eat, that feels good when I do eat it? Like,
and also that holds the essence of suffering and what kosher really should mean.
100%.
And I also love how you worded that you were able to tell what's clean and what's not clean, because that is the essence of kashrut.
Yes.
Yeah.
Isn't that what it's...
Tahor velo tahor.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. That kind of anticipated my next question, something we talk a lot about on this podcast. And I like the way Catherine sometimes puts it, that, you're trying to solve a problem with some solution. So what was the pain point? I'm stealing that from you, Catherine.
Yeah, no, there was a big frustration. The frustration was there's no access to clean, trustworthy, transparent meat. And I'm going to break down those 3 words. Clean meaning no hormones, no antibiotics, no pesticides, no grains, no GMO, no chemicals. Transparency meaning, hey, I'm calling somebody to find out, what do you put in your meat? Where does your meat come from? What do you raise the animals with? Oh, sorry, that's not for the public information.
Right.
Red flag goes up.
Yeah.
Or sorry, you should trust us. We've done our due diligences. Red flag goes up. Sorry, the farms are our secret sauce. Red flag goes up. If I can't know, I don't know what you're hiding, because from my experience working with farmers and the background in agriculture, the most down-to-earth farmers, the most progressive, which is a funny word to use because it's really an ancient tradition to not use all these chemical heavy inputs. It's really going back to the way we used to farm before it even existed,
Yeah,
this
of course.
industrial kind of formatting. But those farmers that are doing this are so open, so down to earth. Come to the farm. I want to teach you. I want to show you. You can come 365 days of the year. You just show up, and I'd actually love for you to learn so that we can spread this.
So that's a great segue to my question. You alluded to how difficult it was to find clean meat. So how do you source your farms? And is there a Friday night dinner farm?
I wish. I really do. My goal is to have a farm in the future. This is my segue to getting there.
Amazing.
But until that time, I'm partnering with farms and farmers who are, to my standards, the most natural, the most clean, and we'll get into the term regenerative.
Yes. Yeah.
But until then, I'll answer your question. I'm sourcing it from the United States. If you know or you don't know, Canada has a monopoly in the kosher meat world, and I wasn't allowed in.
Is that right?
Oh,
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
So
I didn't know that either.
The farms, when dealing with kosher meat, the farm doesn't need to be kosher. It doesn't need to be run by a Jewish person. It doesn't need to be, there's no specific things except, for example, you can't feed your animals other animal products because cows eat grass and legumes, things like this. So that would make something not kosher at the farm level. But the farms here in Canada, there's a lot of them doing amazing work in the natural regenerative space and all willing to work with me, especially curious. Oh, I've never worked with somebody in the kosher world. Like that would be an interesting market or that would be fun to try. But the bottleneck is the kosher processing plants. Oh. In all of North America, there are 8.
Okay.
In Canada, there are 3 of the 8.
Okay.
Of those 8, I wasn't allowed in. Like I wasn't welcome to use their facility.
Is it because you're not religious enough?
No, it's because I want to use the right words here. So, for example, the beef processing plants didn't let me in because I'm too small, I'm too new, and I'm going after too small of a market, the health conscious. Okay. However, after there's kind of a reputation of being a mafia. Mm-hmm. So I had a meeting with them very early on. I just wanted to find out because,
sit down.
Well, because if I'm going to really do this, like doing the business plan with you is one step. But if I'm going to go through the business plan, it's going to be my life on the line. Is this really worth it? Like, what's the reputation? I had to know. So I sat down with a group of men, all religious.
Fun. That's fun.
I gave them my spiel, what I'm doing, what I want to do. And I said, what's going to happen to me? And they said, okay, as long as you're not in retail stores, by Quebec law, we can't touch you. And I said, okay, no problem. I'll go direct to consumer. So like the model was born. But what's even more interesting is they gave me back, well, we're not going to process for you. We're too expensive for you. It's too small of a niche market. And then 3 months later, they created a grass-fed line.
No way.
And yes. And it's just funny because it's like they were really listening to me, but they didn't, like my dream in my idealistic, super positive world is, oh, here's a young Jewish woman trying to do something good for the community. Yeah. Let's help her with our resources. Let's help her with our abundance of wealth and reach that we have across Canada. But no, instead it was, we're too expensive. We may or may not give you the time of the day. You can reach out to us in a little bit and then, turn around and go do it themselves. So that pushed me to go find the farmers were available, but that pushed me to go find the processing plants that would be open and willing to work with me and grow with me because I am doing small batches. Yeah. The meat industry is made to scale. Yeah. The more you do, the cheaper it is. So doing a small batch, a lot of people look at me and are like, it's not worth it. Don't start. But I have to start somewhere. Like,
it's great though that you don't seem to have been discouraged, or were you?
no, I wasn't discouraged. And I think a big part of not being discouraged comes from the mentorship that I have. A lot of people guiding me to say, like, don't stop. Don't take the no's. Don't, like, you had a dream, you had a vision. Don't let other people stop you from doing that.
Yeah, and don't let it define what you're going to do with your life.
know?
Yeah.
And that was really, really important to me. And now it's really shaped how I move forward.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. You hinted at regenerative farming. Can you explain what that is?
Absolutely. So I find the easiest way to explain what regenerative farming is to explain the opposite, which is the industrial farming.
Mm-hmm.
So about 100 years ago, through the wars that we've had, there was an abundance of chemicals left over from the wars. And those chemicals were synthetic fertilizers that they were spraying onto like citizens and their soldiers to remove lice and to use them for bombs. Like, it was really disastrous. But they had a realization that it actually is helpful in A, removing pests on farms, and B, if you keep it as synthetic fertilizer and don't turn it into a pesticide, which is like one of like the further chemical reactions, you can actually grow better crops from this. And so the industrial complex was born in agriculture, where in North America, they were selling farmers all of these chemicals to put into their farms in order to A, remove pests, and B, grow better crops. So, why wouldn't we do this? This solves the problem of, we have massive growing populations, and how are we going to feed all these people? This is the answer. You're not going to waste a carrot or an apple because it's not going to have a bug in it. This is the dream.
Yeah.
Well, it turns out it's not. Because after 100 years of using this, we can now see the results. If you put all of these chemical inputs into your farm, you will turn your farm slowly into a desert. Meaning, the earth that used to be fertile will now be dirt, like dust.
Yeah.
Those visions you have where like they're
Post-apocalyptic.
yes, and there's dust flying everywhere. There's nothing in the earth. It also means that there's no ecosystem. There's no birds. There's no bugs. There's no bees. We need this. Like a strong, resilient ecosystem is variety, is biodiversity. The industrial complex has really stripped away what we know as like life forms on the farm. And so regenerative agriculture, it's a trendy new word, but it really pulls on very ancient wisdom, which says we're going to farm in alignment with nature, in harmony with nature. So number one, we're not going to do chemical inputs, which actually saves farmers tons of money because they're not spending before they have to even sell a lot on like inputs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's more positive for them. But on the other side, in regenerative agriculture, you are working to create more biodiversity in your fields. So you are, instead of only growing corn, and then at the end of the season, stripping all your corn off, cutting it all down, and then leaving your soils bare. There's principles to rebuild soil life, to make it more fertile by using biodiversity, by not having one plant, by having animals, chickens, goats, sheep, cows, graze and leave their poo as fertilizer to return back to the earth. You're creating a more cyclical cycle. You're, by always having living roots in the system, by not always at the end of the season cutting it bare and leaving it, you're actually allowing nature to always have, number one, protection. Number two, sunlight going into the earth. The sunlight going into the earth builds the microbiology under the soil. That always feeds the plants, feeding the animals, feeding the people. And so you have this very healthy, very robust, very resilient system compared to this like kind of barren desert. There's even an interesting point where, everyone's like, okay, climate change, how do farmers, handle climate change? In the face of unknown with what the climate will bring, having a farm that is diverse, that has multiple crops sustaining you, that has multiple animals, that has a variety of options. When a storm comes, when rains don't come, your system will hold itself down because you have plants locking in moisture.
That's an excellent point.
It strengthens itself by necessity.
It strengthens itself.
Yeah,
it's a good point. So you alluded at the beginning of the podcast that you did hit a couple of roadblocks. How did you manage that? Like, how did you not throw everything in, the towel in.
One, I didn't want to. Like I really, it's funny because what I'm doing, it comes from this place of this should be here already.
Yeah.
Like it's like looking around, like nobody else is going to do this. Like,
and I think that most people don't even realize that that's where our food comes from,
Yes.
right? Like most people are not conscious enough of like what it is we're consuming and where the root is. And it's curious that transparency is not a thing in our food. Like what is this chemical? What is this farm? What is this ingredient?
Yeah.
And there's a lot
how
of...
can I find food that I can eat?
yes.
Yeah, that's not going to impact me in a negative way.
Yes.
I knew someone who lived with celiac for a
Yes.
long time. And that's what she started a business because she could not find food that she could eat.
Yes.
So she started a cookie and brownie business.
But isn't it funny that we have to go so far to get food that's clean?
Mm-hmm.
Like to call it organic or to have food that's clean be more expensive or to have all these labels when it's like food should be food. And if it has chemicals, it should be called chemical food, toxic food, you know, like it's not fair.
It's not real. I keep telling my children, you have to get used to what real food tastes like.
Yes.
So for instance, not everything is supposed to be sweet.
Yes.
Not everything is supposed to be salty.
Yes.
Food has a particular taste and you just have to get used to it. And I just came back from a trip in Greece and I'm telling you the best produce I've had in my life, tomato that actually tasted like a tomato. And I was like gobbling up all these tomatoes and it just hit me as to like, and you could see the farmer picking it from back of his, because I went to non-touristy trappy places and you could see the farmer, he had his farm in the back and he would grab his vegetables and then serve them. Well, it makes a big difference.
You hit the nail on the head. People like my mom was from Europe and she would say how she couldn't stand the taste, and she said tomatoes specifically.
Yes. Yeah, tomatoes.
She couldn't stand the taste of produce here.
No, there's no taste.
So something happened. It takes a long time for breeders, like genetic breeders, when you're dealing with, let's say, tomatoes, for example, to start like, okay, here I have a tomato. This one was the best one. Now I'm going to plant these seeds. And then this one was the best one. So I'm going to plant those seeds, and it keeps going.
Yeah.
We have selected for look and not for taste and flavor.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which also means taste and flavor also means nutrients.
Yes.
And so it's the same thing with meat. If your meat doesn't taste good, there's no nutrients. If
That's
your meat
right.
comes from I'm going to use the word like bad, and let's use the word industrial farm. There's no nutrients to it. It's not as nutrient dense. You're not getting.
Is so interesting.
So think about this. If you're taking a piece of meat that is filled with toxins and chemicals and inflammation from the grains, hormones, your body, the first thing it has to do is
Process
the toxins.
Yeah.
And it's used so much energy to process those toxins that by the time it's time to
absorb the iron.
it has no energy left. You need to take a nap and lie down, or you're so bloated, or you feel heavy or lethargic or greasy.
Right.
Yeah.
We've called those symptoms normal. They're not normal.
It's not normal to not feel good after you eat. It's
We've
not
gotten used
normal.
to it, though.
Yes.
Well, I wanted to ask you that, just to play devil's advocate, for those who are used to big round red apples and perfect green peppers, and how do you address that?
I think the biggest thing is to start with education and saying, do you know how this was grown?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know how far it traveled? Do you know what was put inside of it? Like,
but also, what does it mean?
What do you mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what does it mean if you have these chemicals in it? Do you understand what this will do to your body?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it's education.
Yeah.
100%.
Sorry.
I once spoke with a scientist, a well-known scientist in Montreal, and I told him maybe 10, 20 years ago, we started eating organic produce. And he shrugged and said, okay, well, you'll get sicker faster.
What?
Yeah. And I
What?
said to him, you mean ingesting chemicals and pesticides are going to keep me from getting sick? And he said, absolutely. And that I never forgot that. And I can't.
Did he explain why?
Yeah. Did he give you an explanation, or he was just trying to be controversial?
I don't know. That's a good question. But I wonder if he's talking about exactly what you're talking about, that our bodies over time have kind of become this system that allows for those chemicals.
Well, so like my body's the opposite of that body, because my body at a certain point said, no more, I can't handle it. And then that's when I got into that colitis diagnosis.
Okay.
Because it was like a rain barrel effect where it had filled. And now every drop I was overspilling.
Yeah, but if you look at like all the different sicknesses that we have, right? All of these somatic illnesses, they come from something. And one of the root causes is what you're ingesting.
Yeah. And I think maybe that's part of the problem, is that people don't realize.
No.
Is it would change your diet? What do you mean change my
Yes.
diet?
Yeah.
Yes. Well, food really, like, you know, that old medicine from like Roman times, like food is thy medicine.
Yes.
So it really is that. It either
Yeah.
protects you and prevents you from diseases, or it causes you slow, I was going to say slow death, but on the way to diseases.
Mhm.
And yeah.
Did we ever finish the answer to the question of your challenges along the way?
So some of the challenges. So
Yeah.
one of the challenges that I had was when I was unable to process here in Canada, I had been buying as a consumer my kosher meat that was supposed to be grass-fed from a company in the States. And we had an agreement originally, I'm going to partner with them and I'm going to either white label it here or just distribute it under their name in Canada. And that was the plan. And it got to the point we were like starting to, sign papers and make agreements. And it was, sorry, you can't tell anybody about where the farms are. You're going to have to sign an NDA. And it was like, why?
Yeah.
Well, farms are our secret sauce. We can't let them know. But isn't that the whole point about trust and transparency? Like, that's what I'm about to help bring this forward. I'm not allowed. You're not allowed. Okay, well, this is going to be a problem for me. And so I backed out of the deal.
Yeah.
And I'm happy I backed out of the deal because it turns out he didn't trust me at all as a human being. And
Wow.
And so that came out later. And so it was like, I'm really happy that I pivoted and trusted my gut on that. And it took me a long time after that moment to, okay, who's going to be my farmers? Who's going to be my processing plant? I'm going to build it myself. And I had all these standards that I really wanted to keep. So the farm had to be regenerative. The processing plant had to be open to doing kosher and not too far from the farm. I didn't, the bottleneck in the agricultural world is processing plants. All of these processing plants are shutting down. Nobody wants to take them over. And so now, I would call farms. I used to have one down the road. Now I have to go 6 hours to the big conglomerate, the massive one. So it's a real problem. So I started sourcing in my sources in Tennessee. I'm very open about where it comes from.
Tennessee.
That's where I ended up finding it. It was just by chance. I was in a chat forum on chicken producers and somebody answered a question and I got an email about a question and an answer. And the guy who answered, I was like, this guy knows what he's talking about. Like if I started a farm, that's what I would do. That's the answers that I would put. And so I cold called him and I said, this is my project. Are you interested? And he told me, his name is Nate Wells, and he partnered with Jake Hubbard. And these are the two guys in Tennessee. And they're two progressive Mormon farmers who had their own health issues and who decided, I want better for my children. And so they did this. And they fed themselves. Then they fed their communities. Then they fed their neighboring communities. And now they're feeding our community. And
That's fantastic.
It's really wonderful because they get it. It's about open transparency, trust in our food system, in our food. It's about healing ourselves. Like there's no...
And, it leads me to one of the things I always say is that it takes a long time to start a business. And many times when I'm working with entrepreneurs, they don't realize how long it actually takes to get started.
Yeah.
So it's a good point. You listen to your gut and now things are for the best.
Yeah.
That's great.
Well, take me back to that. I mean, what was talk about your connection to PME and how it all started?
So my connection to PME is actually with my dad, my father, David Horowitz, who's a PME mentor.
From the beginning, from Bereshit.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah, and he's been our mentor for like from the start, and very active mentor. And he's also a professor, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he's a professor of MBA at Concordia.
Yeah. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah.
No, so I had the idea, and he was like, "I know what to do. Write a business plan. Go see PME. Go see Catherine.
Yeah.
I'm going to connect you to Catherine right away." And it was
easy peasy. Was it easy peasy?
I mean, it was the first time writing a business plan.
Yeah.
I'm very blessed that I had my father as help. But somewhere in between easy peasy and not okay. But it's funny. When I started, I didn't have AI. There was no AI.
Yeah.
And now you can ask AI to fix your business plan, write a business plan, give you an outline. Like I wrote it on my own. I'm actually kind of proud.
Yeah, you did a great job. I remember
Thanks.
working with you and it was fantastic.
Thanks.
What were you doing before you decided to start your own business?
I was actually working in cannabis.
Really?
Yeah.
Like,
Cannabis.
cannabis.
Dun, dun, dun. No, so I did a master's degree in agriculture from the Hebrew University of Jerusalem in Israel.
Okay.
And when I came back, it was 2019 and cannabis had just become legal. And I was like, agriculture, I live in the city, cannabis. Okay, let's see what this could be. Like, I have no idea.
Yeah.
And it was by fluke. I was visiting a friend in pharmacy school in Boston. I went to a cannabis expo, happened to be there. I was just curious, like, maybe this might be my next move. And I met a guy who worked in Montreal and they were doing... They specialize in controlled atmosphere, which means they build rooms where you can control every gas molecule. And their history is in storing apples. So the farmer picks their apples in the fall, and by controlling the gas levels, you can stop the apples from ripening, and you can save those apples for a full year. And so they said, well, why don't we just use this with cannabis? And so I started with them, and I worked with them for almost 2 years, and I was in their R&D lab at first, and then we moved to their first production facility, and I helped them build it up, and at some point I wiped my hands. It wasn't for me, truthfully, but it was a very interesting experience.
But when I have another question. Your dad obviously was in entrepreneurship. Was his, because you could have just gotten another job, right? But was his influence or having somebody talk about starting a business something that made it easier for you to pick that as an option for your future?
I definitely think so. I mean, at one point I remember him asking me when I was looking for another job, he's like, why don't you do something yourself? Like, why not? Like, there was never a hesitation, but I said to him, I'm not just going to do anything. Like, I would like to do something that means something to me. I think especially after coming off of cannabis where, it's fun to grow weed, don't get me wrong. Like, who's going to complain about coming home with free jars of weed? Like, no problem. But I didn't feel like I was helping. I didn't feel like I was using my skills to do something good.
Yeah.
And it was kind of running amok in my internal system.
Interesting.
I'm curious as to when you first met Jessie, Catherine, was it one of those situations where you say, looks good, but fix this, come back to me later?
Yeah, we had some back and forth.
Do you remember the call you gave me?
I don't remember.
I'm going to say it because it's really funny. You called me like, what am I reading? Like, there was a moment where you were like, I don't understand. And I think I understand now because regenerative, grass-fed, meat, what's wrong with the meat? Like, there's so many questions that come with it.
Yeah, perhaps. I mean, I do have those calls where people send me stuff and I'm like, what?
Yeah. What am I reading?
What is this?
But that's really awesome because, if Jessie could sell this to you and you can walk away going, oh, okay, I get it.
Yeah, and the other thing is when entrepreneurs apply, they have to. If I have a million questions when I'm reading this, I know that the investors are going to have a million questions. So you have to make it consumable. People need to understand what you're trying to do. And she did a great job of turning it around. And of course, before you called me, your father called me.
I didn't know that. I did not know.
I am going to be sending my daughter. Okay, sir.
I didn't know that. Go Pasco is making sure,
No. It's fine. It was just very funny. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah. That's correct.
And I remember I got the call and I was like, oh no. What do you mean what? Like, is it not clear? It was like a 30-page business plan. It was long.
It was a big business.
It was detailed. I had a lot to say.
But it sounds like it's the kind of a business that would have a lot to explain because as you pointed out off the top, there wasn't anybody doing this.
No.
Yeah.
And it's not vocabulary that you would be used to, right? It's not stuff that you would think about. Yeah. But then the more you think about it, the more you say, this is, it makes you pause and say, wait a minute, we have something here. So, yeah.
So from your experience with PME, I mean, how long did it take to put this all together?
I mean, I got funded in 2023 and I started selling my first batch in May of 2025. So I was already paying back the loan for a good year before I even got operations started.
Yeah, that's going back to how long it takes to start a business sometimes and hitting roadblocks and not being defined by it. But we see this a lot of time. Like, we'll fund also ideas that are not, we're the only fund actually that does this. Mm-hmm. So people will come with ideas. They don't have anything in place. They have an idea of what they want to do. They've proven the model to us. They've proven the business opportunity. And most importantly, and this is the biggest thing, is they've proven to us that they can get the job done. So at the end of the day, we take a chance, we take a bet, and we invest in people. So she was able to do that, and the people that we fund are able to do that. So we go in early. So it's normal that it would take you a long time to...
I think what you guys do is amazing. There's nobody like what you guys do.
Thank you.
I think PME is the most incredible program. Taking a bet on people who just have ideas, like that's unbelievable and unheard of, honestly.
Yeah.
Fantastic. You were talking though, as if, when you said you got funded in 23 and you were already out there in 25, you're saying it like that's not a long time. Like you were amazed at how fast.
Yes and no.
Yeah.
Yes and no. At the time it felt like when I would cold call farmers, I went on multiple trips because I had thought I had found the right fit. And I went to Texas and I went to Virginia and I went all over, and it never clicked. Mm-hmm. And so I think it felt frustrating at the time.
It's very frustrating.
Because I have this idea. I wouldn't have this idea if it wasn't possible. So where's the solution?
Mm-hmm.
But not giving up is a big part of this, and not being defined. It's just going to take some time. Yeah. And again, I wish more entrepreneurs would understand how long it actually takes. Yeah. The business plan is like point one, step point one. And then they're like, to get to one, there's a whole bunch of times because there's a bunch of variables. You have to depend on people, depending on the industry you're going to go in. It's very rare that you table something and you hit the ground running. It's very, very rare.
Well, usually in these podcasts, we look to our mentors for a bit of business wisdom. But what advice would you have for a young person who's looking to start a business?
Trust your gut. Block out the noise. Like really listen to yourself. And I really think if you have an idea, it's meant for you. I was going to say something else, but it's more like there's so many, at least from my experience, there's so many times where I was like, oh, I could, I should, and then I don't. Mm-hmm. Do it.
Yeah.
Take the leap. Be brave. Like just try.
Yeah.
Better to fail and have tried than not at all. Like I know it sounds cliche, but really like if you have an idea, that's because it's for you to bring it forth.
And let's not forget that you only have to be right once.
Oh, that's
I like
interesting.
That.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, I like that a lot. That's a good one.
Where can we find Friday Night Dinner?
FridayNightDinner.ca.
Mm-hmm.
You can order online and we'll ship to you. You can also stop by if you happen to live in Montreal and live in the West Island. You can stop by our warehouse and come see me and the freezers, and you can come ask a million questions. And I love to answer the questions.
So you really are as open and welcoming as you want others to be.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Especially when it comes to food. I mean, like, it pulls a trigger of frustration in me.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm the person who reads the ingredient list on everything I buy. And if I can't pronounce, or if it's 50 plus ingredients, like,
yeah, that's not for you. It's the same thing for me. If there's more than 3 ingredients, we're not buying it at home. I mean, there's a big price tag associated with that, but
which is funny.
But it's a choice, right? It's a choice, and it's a choice on how we as a family, choose to spend our money. And for us, eating clean is really important.
It's the most.
Yeah. A nutritionist that I used to work with once said, the more ingredients it has, the further away it is from being food.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, which makes a lot of sense because a whole food, like a tomato turned into tomato paste, should just be
tomatoes.
Yeah.
There shouldn't
maybe some water and that's it.
Yes. But everything needs to have an extended shelf life, and everything needs to have super sweetness. Like my neighbor told me that she bought chicken from the grocery store and the second ingredient was sugar.
Why does a can of niblets have sugar in it?
What is a niblet?
And
corn.
For me,
corn. No, yes, it doesn't make sense. Yeah. What are we doing?
Or gums in food.
What are we doing?
Gums in food.
What are we doing?
Yeah.
It's not food anymore. The further away it is from the natural source, it's no longer food.
Yeah.
So what is it?
I don't know.
It just tastes good. It's all this masking.
Yeah.
It tastes really good, but it's not food.
Yeah.
So it slows you down.
Well, now I just feel guilty.
No. just buy Friday Night Dinner meat. Yeah. Start there.
FridayNightDinner.ca. Jessie Horowitz, thank you for being on Mind Your Business. Minding Your Business? What do we call this?
Minding Your Business.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Catherine.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Every episode, we'll bring you a bit of business wisdom from a PME mentor. This week, our mentor is our own Catherine Korakakis. Catherine?
Many times I'm asked what I think about an idea and if it's a good idea and how do I come up with an idea. And the way that you can come up with a business idea is if you've ever done something and you've said to yourself, why is it not like that? Or I wish it could do this. And once you get that little bug of why is this not optimal, or why is this feature not featured, or why doesn't this thing exist, that is your first inkling to meeting a real need. So when you're looking for business ideas and you're looking for ways to start, look in your own life of pain points, things that you wish were different, things that would help alleviate something in your life, make your life better. And that is a place to start. And then see, do you have a market? Conduct your market research. But literally, the first step is identifying a pain point and then seeing if other people experience this same pain point.
All right, thanks for that. And for anyone who's interested in the mentoring and guidance that PME has to offer, how do they sign up?
Very easy. You go on our website, www.ProMontrealentrepreneurs.org. You fill out an application form, and then we will call you within 48 hours.
All right, and that's our time. For more information on PME or any other Federation CJA program, follow us on social at ProMontrealentrepreneurs.org or at FederationCJA.org. Minding Your Business is a production of Federation CJA. Executive producers are Glenn J. Nashin and Catherine Korakakis. Technical production by Daniel Moskovich. The Minding Your Business podcast. Subscribe, download, listen, and share wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Dan Laxer.
And I'm Catherine Korakakis.
Minding Your Business, Pro Montreal Entrepreneurs, bringing ideas to life.